if you do win the elections and you're elected president. Define for us what review exactly means. What does it entail? What is it not, and what is it exactly?
Review is to improve. Even the president, with the current implementation of free SHS, at a point in time, you need to review a policy and see if you are meeting the targets or not. And I believe that he can see that he's not meeting his targets. I mean, the congestion in the schools. I mean, recently a school went on demonstration because they say they can't take the congestion anymore. The reduction in contact.
Where was this?
Well, you are in the media. I'm sure if you Google, you'll find there's a school that demonstrated because they said they were over-congested and they couldn't take it anymore. I mean, the contact hours with teachers has gone down. I'm sure you've seen some of the media posts. There was a parent who said his child was moved from green to gold. They went to school. The first week was sports week. The second week was something. They started learning in about the third week. And after two... Oh, you did? And by the fourth week, they said they should go back home. Yeah. And they should come back in March or February or something. I mean, yeah, how are you going to expect a child like this with such few contact hours to be able to make it? And then aside from that, instead of improving the system, you go and buy past questions and distribute to children. This is the first government I've seen go buy past questions and distribute to children. And so when I say review, I mean to improve. And the first thing we'll do is to abolish the double track. We will fast track the completion of those schools, and we will spread out the children to some of the schools that are completed. There are a lot of projects that we started under the Secondary Educational Improvement Program. It's a World Bank project. And we're building additional dormitories and others. Those projects have all slowed. And so we'll fast track all those projects so that we can create more space in the schools for the children. And that should make it possible for us to abolish the double track in the shortest possible time. We have a track record. We abolished the shift system in the whole of Ghana by expanding space so that every child could go to school at the same time. We can do that in the secondary space. So when I say review, I mean to improve the senior high school, free senior high school. Good policy, poor implementation. That is what it is. Good policy, poor implementation. So we're coming to improve the implementation of it so that Ghanaians, reap the benefit. Parents are complaining because they are having to spend more. You wanted to alleviate them of the burden of spending. Now they're having to spend more on taking extra classes and private teachers for their children because of the reduction in contact hours, in order that they're able to prepare their children to be able to pass their exams. And so, good policy, but you've not implemented it properly. So parents are not getting the full benefit of the free SHS. So when we come, we'll improve it by first finishing the schools as quickly as possible. That will be a #1 priority. And there are areas where there's a high demand for secondary education. When we built the community day schools, I noticed something. We built one at Kwabenya. The day I was commissioning the school was full. We built one at Frafraha, Adenta. The day I was commissioning the school was full. We built one at Chinderi. The day I was commissioning the school was full. So there are areas where there's a high demand for secondary education. We will put schools there so that children can, for instance, one of the issues that came up in our policy working group is that there are areas, for instance, if you go to Medina Adenta, you have West African Secondary School. West African Secondary School has a huge plot of land that it hasn't used. We can build a second secondary school, at a community day school in West Africa Secondary School, so that we double the capacity of that place to take in children. So you have the existing West African Secondary School with its headmaster, and you have a community day secondary school with its headmaster. And so just by that simple action, you'd have doubled the amount of children that would be absorbed from the Medina Adenta area to be able to go to secondary school. So there are a lot of innovative ideas like this that on hindsight we are looking at and will be able to implement to bring relief to parents. Thank you. Francis.
Okay. So, Your Excellency, I'm Francis Kennedy Okulu, popularly known as Awareness General on Facebook.
What?
Awareness General.
Awareness General.
Yeah, so I create awareness on
okay.
every issue.
Okay.
But these days, whenever I create political issue, I get enemies because I was for the MPP and now I'm back to the NDC.
I see.
So with my ears on the ground, I hear Ghanaians are actually yearning for your your comeback. But there are fears that you did terrible things. Now, what assurance can you give to Ghanaians, especially with the area of electricity, where now the MPP is using as a trump card that they reduce electricity drastically? And then another area is petroleum prices, which when it goes up, there is kind of disaster. What are you going to do with these two basic things? Electricity bills and then petroleum prices. Okay. Are you going to sustain it? Will you try to let it go down, or we are also going to see it go up as it is going in their time?
Okay. I'll give you a little schooling on the electricity sector. We have Electricity Company of Ghana and NEDCO. They are the main distributors of power in Ghana. Now, they buy the electricity from the generating companies, and these include VRA and the independent power producers, Ameri, Car Power, and all the others. And so they buy that power at a certain price, and they also sell it to us at a certain price. Now, in 2018, when there was that reduction in price, it led to a debt of almost 5 billion cedis. So, as a Ghanaian, you say, oh, they came and reduced the price, but they were just postponing Armageddon for you. And so this year they increased the price back. But after increasing the price back, they've left you with a debt of billions of cedis, which somebody must pay. Nanado is not going to pay from his pocket. All of us will be called upon to pay again. That is why they increased ESLA recently, to pay down the additional debts that they created by reducing the tariffs. So you are going to pay that tariff. That you are paying it. You've started paying it because they've increased ESLA. Okay. And that extra money from ESLA is going to pay that debt that you enjoyed for that 1 year or 1 year plus. So you haven't gained anything. And now your tariffs have gone back up. It was 17% down, 17% up. Meanwhile, there's a debt that has led to an increase in, anytime you buy fuel, the ESLA that we left has been increased by 25% to claw back the 5 billion that you enjoyed. It's as simple as that. Now the point is, we were negotiating to bring gas from the west to east so that we will put all our thermal plants on gas so that they don't use liquefied natural gas. You can get an almost 30% reduction in cost of generation by using gas. And so we left office, we left all the negotiations we were having with the West African gas pipeline to move the gas from west to east so that we could stop the plants there from using liquefied petroleum gas. This government dilly-dallied with the whole thing until this year that they started the actual work of trying to connect. Our policy is gas to power. And so any gas that we have, we want to use it to produce power so that we can bring the cost of electricity down for Ghanaians and for industry. And so if they finish the transfer and the gas starts flowing to the east, then it means that all the plants that we have about 60% of our assets in the east, many of whom are not getting gas. If they all start getting gas, it will bring down the cost. And if it brings down the cost, government should transfer that reduction in cost to Ghanaians so that we can have cheaper, tariffs. But even if it comes down, we should give industry cheaper tariffs so that then they can expand their plants and employ more Ghanaians. In Ghana, we have the reverse. The industries pay more and residential pay less. Instead of in all other countries, industry pays less and residential pays more so that they can create more jobs so that we can work and earn money to pay our electricity